Said you couldn't shoot a witch. Said the only way in the world you could kill a witch was to draw a picture, stick it up on a tree and shoot it with a dime, and said the witch would die. That's the way they said you could kill a witch.
And shoot it with a what?
A dime.
A dime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shoot it. Had to shoot with a dime. Cut up a dime, you know, and shoot that picture. You shoot the picture.
How about that? I never heard tell that kind of thing. Well, now,
I'm just telling what those people
Oh,
do.
yeah.
You can believe I didn't know.
We was talking about them rabbits and stuff a while ago. Tell me again about some of that, salad that you used to go out and cut in the spring of the year. All kind of different kind of salad.
Well, they'd go out, when they come out, they'd go out together and sheepyard planting. You get sheepyard planting and sisal, high stater leaves, bamboo broad leaves, and just cook it all up, and sisal and all, just cook it all up together. And that's about the first stuff would come, you know. Well, pork would come sometime a little early, you know. Pork was early something. They go eating on pork salad. Yeah. Eat on it.
I bet that's pretty good, wasn't it?
Pork salad?
Yeah.
God, I love pork salad as good as a whole little buttermilk. Have all my life.
Yeah.
And then a little later on, they go have cabbage. They'd go get them sometimes and put some what they call crap cabbage in with that salad, you know, do garden with a cabbage patch and break off leaves, you know, and put in with it. That mixture that I'm telling you about. And then they'd cook dandelion salad, creases salad, add it a little later on, you know. Creases is pretty tall there.
Yeah.
People lived at home and enjoyed it back then. A lot of people would think I'm a lying, telling what kind of salad I eat. It wasn't only me that got everybody and his brother. Spring of the year back when 75 years ago, and on back. Of course, they were doing that before I was born, you know.
Yeah.
Kind of salad like that.
Times has really changed, hasn't it, Preston?
Oh, Lord, I let me hear that. Beats anything
It'd be hard to find wilderness anymore, wouldn't
it? Yeah. Well, you can figure it yourself. You know yourself what a difference it is now and 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You remember that.
Oh, I remember back 40 years. I remember back 50 years, Chris.
Yeah, well, you see that. You see the difference now and then.
Yes, sir. I can tell a big difference.
You take
how much it had changed before that.
40 years before that now.
Yeah.
What did it change when you see it? Up till that time.
Yeah. When I was just a boy, I could remember some pretty big timber.
Oh, good Lord.
Back in the woods. And I played in the woods. That's the only place I had to play with, back in the woods. Yeah. And now, you can't find no woods. No. Except in a great big park somewhere, back up maybe in the Smokies or something like that. What we're talking about woods is big trees.
Oh, yeah. Big oaks in there, 2, 3, 4 foot through some of them.
Yeah.
Where they made boards out to cover the building like that. Well, just like I told you, it ain't been 50 years since all of this here, all here, and back south of here was in big timber just like this out here between here and Lucy.
Yeah.
All this hill, all before Tom lived. I mean, up there where Gerald lived, all come on in there to all that pasture in there where Joe Hardy got it.
Yeah.
All them big timber. All back over yonder. All that hill right over across the branch. All them big timber.
Well, you stayed, when you was growing up and everything, you stayed around the sawmills a lot, didn't you? Cutting timber and
Yeah. Turning low.
turning logs, firing them boilers when the first steam tractors come in.
Yeah,
Well, you was noted pretty well as one of the best firemen around, wasn't you, to fire them big steam boilers?
yeah, they give me a pretty good name. I bragging on myself about firing. And I could really chunk on all that.
Well, you had to know what you was doing to fire them big boilers too, didn't you?
You ain't kidding me, did you? Had to watch your water, you had to you had time to put in your water, to pump your water, you know. That cools your boiler down when you pump your water in it, you know. And you know, making laces, a boiler is 3 times harder to fire than this sawmill. I'll give it doggone. How hard you pull it is on.
Yeah.
It's hard to run, it's harder to keep steam to make laces than just the saw. I wouldn't have thought it till I had experience. See, I couldn't.
Look, you just tell me that my grandpa had a steam tractor, or a steam engine, wasn't it? He bought one and you fired it the first set of timber he sawed?
Yeah, I had a frick boiler in.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You fired it at the first set of timber he sawed, and then the last set he sawed with that big thing.
Yeah.
Before he got gasoline engine tractor.
One of them horse, high pressure, low pressure boiler called the frick. Yeah. Hit it and out down where the Joe Hardy's pasture at, it's about as far from here to the side of where Chester's house is. It's from here out the old store, I guess. May not be. You know, Joe Hardy's work. That belonged to Jim Seymour then. He married one of the Windsor girls, and she hired that up there. This belonged to her brother when Sloan got it. And the last set it over yonder, just up branch like going up to Lee Johnson. Before you get to the bank, turn like you're coming back up to Charlie Johnson's house.
Mm-hmm.
North of the sawmill about as far from the road as you get out that house. That's the spot where Bob Shoulders lay. Sat at with his steam out. Eddie gonna quit. First thing I know. Then when I told her why, when I went to High Point, got me a job at 25 cents an hour, $2.50 a day when I'd been farming for Bob for $1. I couldn't stand it down and down, and I can't stand it here.
Kind of hard to leave the country, ain't it, Craig? Well, when you was growing up back then and working and trying to help your daddy, and if I remember right, you said he was pretty crippled with rheumatism and
Oh, he
everything.
was crippled bad.
You didn't have much of a chance to go to school, did you?
No, I never did learn nothing. I ain't got no education, tell you I taught.
Well, I never noticed that. I mean...
No, sir, I ain't got no... I can't even write my name.
You can't?
No.
Well, I never even thought about
Can't
that.
read, writing, or bit more than a baby.
You just never got a chance to go to school, did you?
Well, I was all the boy there was, and the biggest thing was that bothered me, and when they come time to go to school, they wouldn't let me go. You know, walk from here to shop by, but they kept me at home till I got up 7, 8 years old. And then they wanted to put me in school. Well, I thought then, when I was 8 or 9 years old, gosh, I began to feel like I was a man. And I didn't want to be up on the first grade, you know, and be a grown boy. and I didn't go. I go, learn a little, read. I can read print pretty good. That's how I went. The only book I ever took to school in my life was First Reader.
First grade reader. Never thought about that, Press. That's kind of sad that you never got a chance, wasn't it?
I didn't get a chance to. I figured it's too late, you know.
Yeah.
And I was more, back then, all I had on my mind after I got up 10, 12 years old, God, I wanted to hunt. And no one know, the Lord would make you go to school then, you know. If you didn't want to go, you didn't have to. If your daddy and mammy didn't make you go, you was all right.
Well, I bet you knew as much, if not more, than anybody in this country about the animals in the woods and everything. By going out there hunting, you knew as much about that as a teacher did about his books, didn't you?
Yeah, no more, I guess, about it. You take you on up, and I can't make figuring or nothing about that. But I've been accused of having the multiplication table in my head.
Well, you count money or you count stuff like that, couldn't you?
Lord, you couldn't get me.
Nobody couldn't cheat you, could they, by
No,
money?
sir. Gosh, no. Give me all kinds of questions. I can tell you what I could do and show me an old man Harry. It surprised you. You know, we saw down there at the Calvert place, they call it, over across the creek. We sold 300, he did, I logged it, 335,000 feet at one set. It was all hacked on the yard, you know, I had to hack it on and let it dry. And you know, they'd count then, the way it was hacked, you'd count the runs, how many runs was in a, close, how many feet is in a run of that lumber. Start the ground, count how many feet is top, and then figure up and know how many thousand was in that hack. I'd walk up that hack and count the run and tell him before he could figure just exactly the foot there was in it.
Count it right there in your head, could you?
In my head, it's the same as looking at a book and saying ABC. He said I had the multiplication table in my head. I've been given some hard puzzles, you know, and I've never been given one. What if you give me about 2, 3, 5 minutes, I'd give them the answer to it.
Well, there's a lot of people give anything in the world if they knew about the animals in the woods, what you know.
I'll tell you the truth, I don't think it. I don't think, I'm going to tell you the truth. Not because they ain't got it enough. But the life I've lived and all and enjoying it, I don't believe I'd have been a penny better off with education than I have been just the way it's went.
Well, that's a lot more than a lot of people can say, Press, because you've enjoyed your life as you come up
You
through
ain't
it.
kidding, I've enjoyed every minute. Yeah, I'm giving credit. Fellow walked up to me one day. Oh, that's been years ago. He said, I bet you can't tell me how many, get $1. I said, get, and just have 50 pieces, and not have there 2-cent pieces. You can't figure out how you can do that. How I could get $1. You know, that's sort of a hard puzzle.
Yeah.
How you get $1.
It'd take me a while to sit there and try to figure that out. I remember that was an old puzzle back yonder when I was a kid growing up.
Well, it wasn't, I don't believe, over 5 minutes, and I told him that's exactly what it was. Told him take 45 pennies, 2 nickels, 2 dimes and a quarter, and he'd have $1 and just 50 pieces.
You done it right there then, just like that. All them years.
But I never forget it.
Yeah.
And then there's another one is giving, that is the night your old Uncle Bob Cook laid the corpse down lying there, figuring on it, and all. And about, I forget, I sort of forgot to, I've studied a little bit to see how that went. It's about anyhow buying sheep, cows, and hogs, you know. I forget how, just right off the bat, I forget how much it was. I believe it's $50, so anyhow they figured, and they figured, one little bit I got, so I told them just like they did, explained to them, they all agreed with me that I was right. And I remember it was $3 for the whole, 50 cents a piece for the sheep, and $10 for the cow. I'll give what it $100, I believe, to buy that, and then you had to figure out how many sheep you had, how many cows you had, how many hogs you had. Yeah, there's another thing. I see the fella, I bet, and it's Tom Hoffman. I don't know if you remember Tom Hoffman. You remember Irby though, don't you?
Yeah, I remember Irby Hoffman.
And I bet he figured per hour one day. Something, and it's just simple, and he figured. Fella come in and said, Tom, he said, how much would 100 eggs bring you 12 cents a dozen? He flew over to me. You know Tom never did get it figured out. How much a dozen eggs. 100 eggs would bring it 12 cents a dozen.
Yeah. He couldn't think it's a penny a piece, could he?
And I was getting a lot of them. I told him, you know, hell, we have fooled a lot of people, you know. How much would 100 eggs be 12 cents a dozen? And they'd figure on it and figure on it. Just
little catchy things like that, but that keeps your mind alert, don't it? Keeps your mind thinking. Well, you about 87 years old now. In fact, a little better than 87, ain't you?
I'll be 88 tonight, dear me.
Yeah.
88.
About 2 years ago, about this time, you had a little accident, didn't you?
That's when I fell out. 2 years ago, yesterday. No, son. Day
Right
2.
before Christmas, what? Yeah.
It's Christmas Day.
You fell 2 years ago, Christmas Day, out there.
Right out there.
Outdoors there.
That car the post. Wood lane, and I fell across that wood pile. I laid down a while, I couldn't get up. And finally I fell on this side, face and when I rolled off like that and got on my hand and my left knee. Crawled in here. And got in this chair and sat here a while, and I was hurting so bad I couldn't stand there. And then after I got out of here then, when the young got me a drink of water, it seemed like I was just starving for water. I just like got it now before cold fell. I had me about 5 or 6 jugs of water, you know, when the piping freeze up, I always kept my water.
Yeah.
Come a cold spell like this, like I did, I was expecting this cold spell, and I got 4 jugs of water now, close the pipe.
Yeah.
Spigot froze, I don't get no water. Got that water. Come back here, thought of it, and then I said, crawled back over here. I think, well, I'll go to bed. I got in there, and I got my clothes off. Don't know hardly how I done it. And I crawled on that bed, and I never got out of that bed no more. It was Sunday night, about midnight.
Yeah.
Laid right there in the bed.
About Friday till Sunday night, what?
Yeah. right about midnight. Sunday all evening, I just wanted water, but I couldn't. I heard somebody look like I couldn't. I never thought I'd give up. But long about midnight, I just tell you how it seemed to me and how I felt about it. It just come to me just like you'd walk up to me or something. You get out, if you don't go get you a drink of water, you're gonna die.
Mm-hmm.
I rolled out of bed on the floor and crawled from there and rubbed against the leg and crawled on my left knee. Got over there and got me, picked up a jug, and I bet I drank a quart of water.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, man, you know how good I felt all on midnight.
Yeah.
I was suffering in here when I don't want water so bad.
Yeah.
And I got me a jug full and push it on in front of me and push it back to my bed where I went in there. And I bet you 30 minutes before I got back in the bed, but I finally got back in the bed. And I
dragging that leg, wasn't it?
Dragging that leg. That leg was just the same as it just cut off.
Yeah. See,
my hip was broke.
Yeah.
And that knee, just if it hip and leg was right in here.
Yeah.
Man, all I suffered, I never suffered up here in my hip. And they're in my knee. And it's all here in my thigh. And that's the way it's been since I come back. When it hits me right in and swelled up.
Well, how long did you lay there then? Sunday night and then Monday?
I laid there about night and Monday evening after that. I laid, as I got in here, after I fell before anybody come, and Joel come. And I thank the world of Joel for that.
Yeah.
If he had to come, I guess it would have died maybe.
He come Monday evening to check on you, didn't he?
Yeah, he come by. Jordan, he done going to Florida.
Yeah.
And he come by and hollered, and I told him how shape I then. He's covered out and got the doctor up here, and then they got that. And you talk about suffering now, Bobby. They told me out of there and put me in a dadgum truck and carried me to the States, but I never suffered nothing.
They didn't wait on the ambulance, did they? They just
Couldn't get in the ambulance. That's one that you don't want it comes out in place of ambulance when you can't get one in them truck. I forget what they call them, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
I never suffered. It seemed to me like you're just driving over a tater patcher with you.
Crossing that river again in that one-horse wagon, wasn't it?
All that mercy, I've never suffered as bad in my life. And,
When they got you down there at Statesville, they x-rayed you, I guess, didn't they? And you had a broke hip and a busted knee?
Yeah. But it all broke up in there, he said.
Uh-huh.
So, fell on it like that.
Yeah.
He said when he split it there, I got a brace, he put a brace in then while I was down there. And he said when he split my knee there was a quart of stuff run out of it. He told you know, I can't remember the stuff. But where I understood, where I got it to, that's where my kneecap was all ground up in there.
Yeah.
We call it, you may know the name, whatever they call it in there and stuff. He said that
Cartilage?
in there is what run out, you know.
Yeah.
Said it was just ground up in there.
Boy, you done some suffering laying there from Friday till Monday evening. Bound to.
Done some suffering.
You was 85 years old when that done that too, wasn't it?
Yeah,
2 years ago now.
2 years ago Sunday. Went down I stayed 18 days. They put that brace in, and the doctor said that my leg and knee is in a whole lot. He told her, and then he told me that a whole lot worse of shape than my hip was.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I stayed in there 18 days, and they carried me back down there to the doctor. And I went back down there about the second time after I come out, 18 out of the hospital, I think about the second time. And the doctor told me he could put my artificial knee in there and I could walk on it the next day. I could bear my weight on it the next day. If I'd come back, he'd put my artificial knee in there. You know, I said, well, if you can do that. Man, I was still suffering from my leg.
Yeah.
Had he put that brace. He said he put a brace. Well, the scars are.
Yeah.
And I went back. I told him, well, if he do that, I went back and stayed 14 days.
Yeah.
And he put that there. He was right. When I got out of my bed, I got out of the car, go back, walk in the house.
You'd never been in the hospital till you went in. First time you'd ever went to the hospital?
First time I'd been there. I see people, but I never, first time when I'd ever been there. And my hospital bill was $9,925.
Golly.
Out of my hospital bill.
That'd take a lot of backer crops, wouldn't it?
And
Let's check our fire right here just a minute, Press. I don't want your fire to go out.
I don't think it would. I'd go out there and get some dry wood and put in it. You broke it.
By gosh, it's just a bed of coals, Press.
Throw in some of them slabs.
All right.
It's still hot enough in here. You don't need no dry wood in it.
No, let's don't put no dry wood.
Some of them slabs out there laying over. It's warm enough.
You put them in. You want them bark down or?
Yeah, throw them in, bark down, be all right.
That ought to do it, hadn't it?
Yeah. So,
see how you done this thing. I don't want that lid to fall down. Don't break it. I'm gonna have to change a battery right here and put another battery in, Press.
I'll tell you one thing, I got to go out some water.
I'm gonna get you to tell me again about them stars when you was out hunting at night.
Yeah, 7-star, evening star. You see the evening star.
Yeah.
Yeah, just watch. Yeah, I watch it. And the moon too. You can tell about the moon. Yeah, I don't watch.
You'd be out hunting at night, and if you got lost, you'd look at them stars, and that'd tell you where you was.
They'd tell me which way to go. You know, I know where I was going, north, south, east, west. If I know what direction they was, you know, at the time that I was at.
Yeah.
And I'd get to them.
You learned that from the old people, didn't you?
Yeah, when I was hunting with my daddy one night, you know, he watched the 7-star. No, you know, if he did get turned around. Going to strange woods where I had never been, you know, maybe the first night I'd get turned around at night. Just going and never looking where you're going.
Following the dogs.
Following the dogs, you're liable to get lost. I've been lost several times like that, turned around. But I always could get straightened out.
If you could
it's
see.
clear night, I'd always.
What if it's a cloudy night? You just have to wait till it got daylight, or
Go but guess. If it's cloudy.
go but guess.
But the most of the time, tell you the truth now.
Yeah.
I figured I used good sense. I always went where I'd hunted and know that if it was dark, I wouldn't get lost. You know, I know every tree, you might say, I knew trees and things and which way to go. I wouldn't go in a strange place where I hadn't been of a night.
Unless it's clear.
And only clear nights.
Where you could see the stars.
See the stars. The moon.
Well, the old people paid a lot of attention to the signs of the moon and the stars.
They just lived with the signs about it.
Yeah.
Oh, you take my daddy. He had signs, all his signs, planting corn or anything. He went with the sign, what the sign is at. He would plant it on a certain sign.
Yeah.
couldn't have got made them planted corn on the view of the moon. You always wanted his corn planted on the full moon.
Done all right too, I guess, didn't it?
Yeah. It won't grow, the year won't be now as high, and it'll be more, better corn, better years on the full moon. And your watermelons and cucumbers, all the garden stuff had a sign to plant it. You take signs in the feed, you got an almanac. That's a good time to garden. It's in the feed.
To plant your garden.
Yeah, in the feed. If I had always up till the last 2 years, I've always, ever since I've been housekeeping and all, my daddy did, I got me a Bloom's Almanac the fall of the year.
Yeah.
To go on my sign. And if you want, now, I first started out, I sort of crazy like it. My daddy tell me, you know, when I was farming, after I just turned it over to me, you know, I was just a boy. And he said, don't do that. And I'd tell him that I wasn't planting in signs, I was going to plant in that field over there. He said, you won't make nothing.
Yeah.
I didn't have to do that for a few years. I believe what the old man, my daddy's telling me. And I went to doing just like he done.
Yeah.
And I've been lucky. It's two things that I've been lucky all my life, and a lot of people fail. And that is raise watermelon and have a good turnip patch.
Yeah. Well, the Denny's has always been known for raising good watermelons, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I remember back over here where Parks Henderson lives,
We'll have that 2 or 3
Will
acres.
Denny'd have a bunch of watermelons over there in a watermelon house, and everybody come to buy watermelons from him, didn't he?
Yeah, he sold a side of watermelon. He was good at it.
Now, you're a pretty good cook, I guess, too, ain't you? You've had to do a lot of the cooking for yourself over the years.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Make your own bread.
yeah.
I guess if somebody was to used to tell me your favorite bread, what would it be? Cornbread?
Be cornbread. If I couldn't get nothing but, it'd be my choice. If it's just me to take one and not the other, it'd be cornbread. Or I would wheat bread. Cause I could, but I got arthritis in my hand. I made my own bread till here for about 2 years.
Yeah.
But I got to work my hands. I couldn't work up my dough, you know. I couldn't work my dough, and it was about as cheap to buy a loaf of bread. And everything. That's why
But this bread you get in the store now, this wheat bread, there ain't much to that, is it?
low.
What I mean as far as food value is concerned, compared to what it used to be when you...
Lord, no.
When you take your wheat years ago, they'd grind it at the mill and you'd get the shorts, I guess is what they call it, wasn't it? The
Yeah.
brand?
You get the shorts, they separate. Oh, boy, I was raised. You might say I was just about raised on burr flour.
Burr flour.
Yeah. Old time, burr meal.
Burr corn meal, or a burr stone meal, wasn't it?
Yeah, just like stone mill that ground the wheat in there and run it through. You know, old burr mill used to be up down there, you know, at Staley's, that Staley place, up on the Benbow place.
Yeah.
Now, there's an old mill down in there. I guess you know that old mill.
I know where the old dam was, or where they had a
Well, there's
place
a
there.
mill, that is a burr mill. And they had one over here at Mabry's, a burr mill.
Yeah.
And one down at Barnes.
Uh-huh.
And that's where we'd go to mill. We wouldn't go to Buckshot or that.
That wasn't a burr mill, was it?
That's the first roller mill ever.
A roller mill over there.
That's what they call a roller mill.
Well, when they grind that wheat in that burr mill, it just, what did it do? Just kind of grind it different than it did in a roller mill?
Yeah, you see, so many clothing things, you know, it went through it separate what they call the shorts and the flour and what you got is pure flour and like that.
Oh, you was telling me about making your bread out of what, the shorts or the...
Yeah, man, I love shorts.
It made the bread kind of yellow though, didn't it?
Yeah, about like yellow cornbread.
Yeah. But it's good.
It had the strength in it too, brother. It was good. Yellow corn, yellow.
Yellow flour and yellow corn. You didn't make a whole lot of cornbread out of yellow corn, did you?
Well, I have had, yeah, I eat a lot of yellow cornbread.
Yeah.
Well, out of white. One day I went to eating yellow corn. It's good. It's a heap stronger. And you know there's a heap more liquor in a bushel of yellow corn than the white corn.
There is?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Well, I don't know too much about liquor anyway. I never did get a chance to get around. I wanted to, but I was scared to go around and steal.
Yeah.
Afraid them revenuers would come in and took me off. I didn't figure I could outrun them.
I always figured when I went to a stealer or they're making liquor, I always figured I could outrun them.
Well, that's a good thing. I'm afraid I couldn't.
I wasn't a bit scared of them. And I got up 20 years old, I believe I'd have bet you $50 it wasn't the sheriff and your mom if he'd have caught me before I had to throw him down and run left him. He wouldn't have took me, I don't believe, unless he took me in the head or something. I wasn't scared.
Well, way back when you was just a young fella, was it blockade steals and also government steals back in this country?
Oh yeah, they blockade when the government steals, yeah. That's all the way, you know, maybe like Mark Salmond over here. He run a government steal, you know, and he blockade too. Well, that's where his money, that's where his blockade, you know.
Oh, he didn't have to pay taxes on that.
No tax on it.
Yeah.
That's where the...
Oh, yeah, okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
He blocking it too. I've heard Mark sit and tell it. Different time he take off a little liquor, he'd shit him any way he could, and I guess he shit you or anybody else. That's saying, you know,
Yeah.
and he said they'd take a load of liquor, you know, by a load, 50-gallon barrels to Salisbury, and he'd steam the stamps off, put them in a half-a-gallon jug, keep the law from getting them coming back. They'd search him and come back, see if they had any, you know, the law would. And they'd search him. There's in that half-a-gallon jug, never thought about it. He'd get home, you see, he'd just haul off and bust that jug, started the stamp.
Take them back again.
Down another little litter with it.
Yeah. How'd he haul that, on a 2-horse wagon?
Yeah, hauled on wagon.
All the way from here to Salisbury?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was about close. Big saloon in Salisbury at that time, they said.
Well, there's a lot of people made brandy too, didn't they?
Oh, they made government brandy. I had hauled that I got it big enough. I went with a manual load of apples. Well, my daddy and people he'd hired to haul apples for him to the brandy works, they call it, the brandy works.
How much you get out of a bushel, apples? I mean, how much money?
You get, well, back in I can first recollect, it's 2 cents a bushel.
2 cents a bushel?
2 cents a bushel, I mean 2 cents a bushel.
Yeah. Bushel apple.
Bushel apples, whole. They made brandy shores and them did right. Polton, you know where Polton knows?
Yeah, yeah.
They made brandy, tax brandy right there, and me and my daddy hauled apples up. I remember me and him going up with a load of apples one time, and the steeple going down, you know, and I sitting up a little shit axe, and apples rolled with me, and heck, I never stopped till I hit the ground. And that blame wagon run over my arm. I never will forget that.
You just got unloaded, didn't you?
Yeah, I went right. He's sitting up in front, but I was back there on the wagon. I my daddy now. Just before I got to him, I just went off the corn wagon and I got in front of the wheel. Drove out of arm. It didn't break it, but I thought it was broke. I tell you right now, it scared the snot out of me.
Well, you probably had a lot of apple trees around in your yards and everything to get all them kind of apples.
There was just where I was raised out off above the house. I guess there's between 75 and 100 apple trees up there, over there around the whole place.
What kind was it? Old horse apples?
All kind.
All kind of apples.
Just about all kind.
Yeah.
Had horse apples, queen apples, and what he called the twisted apple. I don't know the name or not, but the tree, I remember it mighty well, and it grew to be a great big tree. It got broke off when it was set out, small, and he took and just twisted it, and he come up 2 sprouts, and he twisted them together. And that's the way it was as long as the tree lived. And it got to be a great big tree, and he called that his twisted apple tree.
Oh, yeah. You had a lot of dried fruit then, too, back then.
Oh, a lot of dried fruit. A lot of, and then we had a lot more after they quit selling them. As they quit making brandy, you couldn't sell them, you know.
Yeah.
Built a dry kiln, and we dried fruit just like cornbacker. Maybe dry through the summer, 300 or 400 pounds of fruit. Everyday business, cutting it dry.
Yeah. This building's kind of like a tobacco barn, I guess, wasn't it?
Yeah, sort of built up
out of logs and stuff?
Yeah, built out of logs. Door on the side, I give it just about 12 foot long and about 6 foot wide.
Yeah.
Riddle's about 4 foot long, you put it on, it's about that wide. About 4 foot long, you know, and made them riddles and put up pieces around the edge, you know, keep you out from rolling on. Had to fill it up like it this morning, and what they fill today, then they'd be ready to go in tomorrow. You see, you could take and fill it up like it's today. But you set them out in the sun, let them sun, you might say, today. And then put them in the dry kiln in the morning. Well, you peel another dry kiln full that day, you know, put them on a riddle and let them set till the next morning. By the next morning, you know, they could double them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It'd be dry enough, you'd put 2 or 3 riddles together, all on one riddle to finish killing them out. And put them in. It just cut apples every day.
Cut and peel apples, right?
Yeah. Sell them.
Now this riddle you're talking about, that's kind of a flat piece of...
Well, made about a 1/4 inch plank, you know.
Oh, okay, yeah. That was to lay the apples on. The air could go up and through it and everything.
No, it is solid.
Solid?
Yeah, they hit it solid, but just like solid plank, you know.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe
about 2
foot wide.
Well, the reason I'm asking that, the only thing I can remember when I was a kid, they had wire across the bottom, because we put our apples in a tobacco barn when we got ready to kill out.
Yeah.
When they throwed the heat real high on that tobacco, say like about 150 to 160 degrees, and start killing that tobacco stem and all of that, drying it out. Well, that's when they put their apples in there.
Yeah.
If they put them in too soon, there was too much steam and everything. So they got ready to kill out.
Yeah.
But I'd never seen a riddle before. That's the reason I was asking this.
Yeah, no, they call them back, that's what they call a riddle, but the plank, but they're just solid, about 2 foot wide.
Yeah. Well, it's been something to see.
The way they do is they take out that way it was, I think, it's about 2 12-inch planks.
Yeah.
And just put them together.
Yeah.
Good dry plank, you know, so
Yeah.
it wouldn't dry out so the apple would fall through the crack.
Right.
And some of them, when they did, why they'd put them a little strip over that crack.
Yeah.
And then they'd put up pieces around the edge, you know, about 1/2 inch pieces around here. keep your apples from rolling off.
Uh-huh.
Each end, you pour your apples on there and just scatter them out. Anything, whatever thickness you want. Come in there. And like I said, you know, it ain't like you'd just peel a riddle full and stick it right in, you know. We'd always sun them a day.
Oh, yeah.
And out in the sun, and it was hot weather back then.
Yeah.
Hot weather and got a day's sun, you know, there wasn't much water to run out.
Well, you had a furnace in that building where you could build a fire in it, didn't you? Like a tobacco barn.
Yeah, well, it had the furnace clear through it.
Oh, all the way through.
It's like, the furnace is built just like a molasses boiler, you know how they do it?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
It was built right in the middle of that underneath the rock furnace. Clear through, and you chimney at the end, and you put your wood in. This is just far at one end, it's like a...
Boy, I bet that was right smart of work, sure enough, wasn't it?
Oh, gosh,
But them apples
where
made,
you going?
them apples made mighty good pies, though, didn't
Oh,
they?
yeah. And you know, they thought we were making money when they getting 2 cents a pound for them. When you could take them store and play, sell them. You were no trouble selling them.
2 cents a pound.
But they call it giving them away now at 2
Yeah.
cents, cent and a half.
Yeah.
2 cents. And then out we haul them from here apart that plate. We were picking them up, loading them on, taking them up for a cent and a half bushel.
2 cents at the most, what?
Yeah. Finally, that was about the last year. They went up about 2 cents.
And them old boys, when they made brandy back then, they made good brandy, didn't they? They didn't make it like they do now.
No, God, no. They didn't know what sugar brandy and stuff like that was. Nothing.
This brandy you get this day and time, sugar brandy, ain't it? That was made from a pure apple, I guess, wasn't it?
Yeah, pure apple and they put rye meal on it to
Make
so
it
it ferment, you know. And
work good.
You work it off,
Yeah.
rye meal, and work it off. There wasn't no sugar or nothing like that.
Did it have a kind of a mellow taste to it? It didn't burn like a fire.
No, take brandy. I used to just love it. Get it out of butter. Take it out and get about a year old. It just be about the color of vinegar. It turn right yellow like this, and hit set a brandy a year old. Gosh, it would. Growing up.
I bet it was.
Yeah.
A friend of mine gave. He was from back up in Burke County, and there's an old man back up in there. Every year he'd make a little bit of apple brandy.
Yeah.
And he made it the old-timey way, and this friend of mine, he got real lucky, and he got him about a gallon, I think, of that stuff, and he gave me a quart of it.
Yeah.
And I had some friends down in this way that I thought right smart of at that time, and that was more than I ever wanted, so I took them a little bit. And they said it's just like biting an apple, it was so good.
Oh, it gets good and mellow.
The same as eating an apple, it tasted so good. Melon?
Hell, when it just fresh, like made this morning, drink some of this evening, man, you know, it's pretty hot.
Yeah.
So it ages a little.
It's hot. That's a way of saying it's kind of fiery, ain't it? It'll burn you when it you drink.
Yeah.
About like drinking a fire coal.
Fire I like, you know.
Yeah.
It ain't as mild as it is, and it gets, let it get about a year's age on it, and boy, he's good. It was good. You think I've got, don't get sugar brandy. God, it'll burn the parts out of you.
You might have to hold a gun on each other to drink that stuff.
Oh, you know.
You know, when we talked back in the summer, I was telling you about old Clay Mitchell. I said he squirted some liquor one time. He said he had a heck of a time ever drinking that stuff. He said,
Lord have mercy.
he told me about a preacher bought some off of him. Preacher got some. The preacher never did pay him for it. He called the preacher by
I
name.
got a hold of some scores.
I never drunk none of that scorched stuff. I tasted a little sugar yet.
I've tried.
You know, I doubt.
Well, I'll tell you, take the first run of Sugarhead, in a way, it's better than pure corn liquor.
Is that right?
Yes, sir, the first run. But
I,
boy, the trouble is, they run so many times.
oh, it does. Then it gets meaner and meaner every time they run it.
Pour it back in a box, you know, they'll run it out and pour that slop back in a box.
Yeah.
Set time maybe for a month and go back and run it over. Sugar it back and run it over. I'll tell you what I've seen. I've been by where they're making, and then where they poured out in that darn box. I don't know whether you remember or not, but they used to, got to making it out of that here whey, they call it, got it Wilkesboro at that milk plant.
Yeah.
Got to make liquor out of it. I've been by where they had that done, and the dang maggots is just working alive in it.
Golly, that'd be kind of mean drinking, wouldn't it?
And they come back and dump sugar in there and still it again. No, that is mean liquor. It ain't good.
Them old timey people didn't do it that way.
No, sir. They went and run it, the copper still they had it. They run it through.
They didn't work it to death either, I bet, didn't they? They tried for quality instead of getting so much quantity.
Right.
In other words, when an old whiskey man...
It went out through what they call charcoal, that liquor run through that. They said to get the body grease out of it, what they call it.
I never heard tell of that.
Yeah, body grease out of it.
I mean, a man back then, when he's making liquor, he took pride in his work, didn't he? I mean,
oh, yeah.
He didn't want the reputation of bad liquor.
No.
Or bad whiskey, whatever they called it.
No, you see, they made a run at the old timing. Now, when I was born, they was making liquor according to law, you know.
Yeah.
And copper stills and everything. Well, they'd make a run out so much, and what they call, they'd double this back and still it again, and then run. Then when you got your liquor.
Yeah.
The first they call it the doubling. And then it turned out, get out enough for a run, and then pour that back in there and run it over. And they're backing. Oh, they just a nice way I look at it. About it, people would be a cooking or fixing anything to eat, you know. Making liquor then.
Yeah. My
granddaddy run a government still. My daddy's daddy.
Yeah.
I left down below the house for a while. Made government liquor for years.
And that's part of your medicine too, I guess. When
And
like
that's, yeah, and that's for, I hear my dad tell several years that he got up grown. Before he was married, that's what he done. He just went around steal for people. He was a good stealer, my daddy was. He said, steal for Lashwinder down here, Bill Sparks over here. He said he went to the shack and stayed months at a time before he ever left that shack. People thought he'd gone out of the country.
Yeah.
He's our stealing.
Running and steal for.
Yeah, he said he steal for Lashwinder. He said one time 18 days and nights.
Just slept right there at the steal.
Never slept on when he was running off with doubles. That's the only sleep he said he got. And the other than that was them windows, Mammy down here. That was Liza's girl. Brought his rations to him at the shack.
Stayed there and run solid for 18 days and nights.
18 days and nights, he said.
Made a lot of liquor running that long, didn't it?
Yeah, he made a lot of liquor.
I'm gonna check this fire one more time, Press. Let me.
It's getting cold?
No, I noticed a little bit cool right there at that door. I want to make sure you don't run out of wood in that thing.
Well, I got dry wood now, I can throw it. I'm just living like I want to.
That's about the only way